Hey guys, Adam here with AmericanTrucks.com, and today we're taking a closer look at and installing the C&L Monster Oil Catch Can, available for all trucks, 97 and newer F150s. You should be checking this out if you're looking to expand the lifetime of your engine by reducing the harmful effects given to your truck by blow-by. Now, if you don't know what blow-by is, it's essentially crankcase exhaust gases, an oily vapor that makes its way back into the system, coating the inside of your throttle body, your intake manifold, bogging down your engine, robbing it of its power over time. And over time, it really can take that toll. An oil catch can's job is to be the middleman. It catches all of that excess exhaust gases that turn into an oily vapor and prevent it from making its way back into your system. It's all collected in this can here. Now, the kit here from C&L is very unique. It is more of a universal kit, and I'll get to that in just a second here. But what I want to say about it being unique is the way that it works is a little bit different in its hose fittings, its relief system, its drainage system, and its capacity. This Monster Oil Catch Can is 20 ounces. Now, you want to compare that to some of the other options in the category, like JLTs, for example, which is typically around 3 to 3.5 ounces. This is more than enough catch can. This is something that's going to take a lot of time to fill up for the most part, and if it fills up pretty quickly, you got other problems there. This particular oil catch can comes with 14 feet of hosing. This is going to replace some of the PCV hosing that connects your valves to your intake manifold, your valves to your cold air intake, or your factory stock air box. This is going to replace all that. You're going to really cut this up into lengths and connect them where you need to connect them. It's also going to come with around a 22 to 24 inch clear line or clear tube that'll help you with draining the catch can. Now, historically, for most of the common traditional catch cans, you just unscrew the top, dump it out, wash it, throw it right back in. This, because it's so giant, is actually going to be able to be done on car. What you'll do is connect the line to the bottom, pull the relief valve to release the pressure, and it's going to dump right out to the bottom, and you'll empty it right into an oil pan like you would when you're bleeding your brakes. Same exact system there. In addition to that, it's coming with all the fittings, different size fittings for different generation trucks. It comes with 2 different types of brackets to help you when mounting it in your engine bay. Now, I said this is more universal, and because it's universal, you can mount it anywhere in your engine bay that you see fit, personal preference, what's accessible, what's easy for you, what makes sense. C&L recommends that you mount it in the engine bay in the coolest location in the engine bay, which is typically up front by the radiator, right behind the front grille. You'll get more airflow that way, but something that isn't going to block airflow for your engine bay. So that's something to keep in mind. We'll be mounting ours to the battery box, which you'll see in just a little bit here. When it comes to mounting this, because it's universal, it is pretty custom. So you'll be able to pick and choose how you want to mount it. These are the 2 brackets. One is vertical, one's going to be mounted horizontal, so it gives you a couple of options. You're also going to be given 3 hose fittings that'll either clamp on to your factory positions and allow you to run this hose here, or you can clip it right on to this fitting here and run it using your factory fittings. If you're going to use your factory fittings, it's going to require you to cut that hose up. We're going to do it a little bit differently, and I'll show you guys that in a little bit. That isn't going to require any cutting. When we do mount this, we are going to use a T-fitting, which is included in the kit, but there are a number of other ones to fit your gens as well. So what we're doing here is really specifically for the 15 and newer F150, but it also can be translated to other gens. Now, this catch can here is going to come in right around 300 bucks, so it is a little bit more expensive than some of these smaller options that are about 1/3 to 1/4 of the size, so keep that in mind. It's also using all premium quality materials, comes with brackets bolted in, so the higher price tag is for the obviously bigger capacity catch can, but also because it's using premium quality stuff. The install method I'm giving 2 out of 3 wrenches on our difficulty meter. This is a little bit custom, so you can do it a number of ways. Know that this is going to take about an hour, maybe 2 from start to finish, depending on how you want to route it. I'm going to show you every step on the process on our 2018 5.0 behind me here. What do you say we get started? Tools used in this install would include a drill, 5/16 drill bit, impact gun, ratchet, 10mm deep socket, 11mm short socket, an extension, 11mm wrench, a cutting tool, whether it be a pocket knife, a box cutter, so on and so forth, and also recommended some snips if you need to cut some of that excess off the hose. First off, I want to show you guys where we're going to choose to mount our Monster Oil Catch Can from C&L. I'm going to use this vertical bracket, but instead of using it the traditional way, I'm going to flip it upside down and bolt that right to the top side of that battery box on the side here. And we're basically going to mount this just like this, right off on an angle. It's going to sit just like that. It's a really good idea to mount this vertically. It is pressurized, and it does have a gauge at the top so you can monitor its capacity and if it's full or not. there's a full little thing in there, so once it gets really full, it brings it to the surface. Pretty simple. Now, for that to work properly, you'll want this vertical. If you have it horizontal like this, that's not gonna be very easily readable. It's also not gonna be as easy to drain when it's pressurized. Pulling that cap, it'll only drain partial. So really vertical is the best route. Worst case scenario, you can flip it horizontal. So again, we're gonna mount it right there to the side of the battery box. I'm gonna grab a 5/16 drill bit. Let's get to work. All right, so with the hole in place, we could just put our bracket into place. We're gonna use this bolt here included in the kit. Slide that right through. Washer and nylon lock nut on the bottom. All right, so next I'm gonna grab a 10mm socket and tighten this guy down. All right, so from here we wanna mount our catch can. Take the 2 bolts out of the back side here, and we're gonna mount it right to this bracket. You wanna make sure you're leaving on the split washer and the flat washer as well. Just gonna tighten these down all the way as far as we can by hand first. All right, with this on the bracket, I'm gonna grab an 11 socket and just tighten these guys down. All right, the next step is to remove your first PCV hose. Now we're gonna go passenger side valve to intake manifold. We're gonna remove this guy. Now this is what I mentioned earlier. When it comes to using your hose fittings, you can reuse these and just cut this hose off. We're not gonna do that. We're gonna use the fittings included in the kit and then just go straight into the fittings here. Show you guys that in a second. So to remove this, lift up on the gray locking tab on the back and pull straight back. Do the same thing on the other end. Perfect. Now, of course, we have 14 feet of hose. We have to cut this to length. So what we're gonna do is use the fitting included in the kit, attach it here, fitting included in the kit, attach it here, and then we're gonna run a hose from this location to here, that location to here, just like that. So let's cut the hose to length. So really we're going from here to the center. So we're gonna cut about, we wanna have a little excess, we're gonna cut about here. All right, so we've got a blade here. What I'm gonna do is cut right about that length that I needed and go straight down. Perfect. You wanna take that 90-degree fitting, one of them, there's 3 in the kit. Grab one of them and attach that to one side of the hose. Now these are really, really tight, so you're definitely gonna need to twist and push all the way in. All right, there's little ribs on that fitting that are gonna hold that hose in place. From here, attach that to the valve. That snaps right into place. This end is gonna go right onto your oil catch can. Now because it's pretty much vacuum, it's suction, we don't need to clamp this. It's tight enough that it's gonna hold itself in place, but if you felt so inclined, you can push this all the way down and use a hose clamp on it. But for us, we're gonna leave it just like this. That's up to personal preference. All right, now the other location on your intake manifold, we're gonna go to this left side here. You can pick either one, but I like to use this one for the furthest, so we're gonna go back here. All right, now that's gonna go right back down there to that hose fitting. Use one of the other elbow fittings. You're gonna attach that to the other end. Right down to the intake manifold. Now this last hose is cut a little bit longer. It's gonna go from our last section to the other side of the engine bay. It'll connect to a T-fitting that's gonna connect to 2 hoses. One going to the driver's side valve, and the other one's gonna go to the cold air intake or the stock air tubing. So first things first, cut it to length, just to about the other valve. And we're gonna use this end and just connect it to the remaining fitting. Perfect. Now we can remove the factory PCV tubing on that side. All right, so we're gonna remove this PCV tubing, same way we did before, pinch and disconnect there. And the other one is right here on our intake tubing. All right, so now what we did was cut 2 almost equal length hoses and attach them to the T-fitting included in the kit. One end is gonna go to the plates on the intake tube. The other end is gonna go into the fitting on your valve. So let's attach this here. gonna slide right in. We can attach the other end of this T-fitting here, the one that angles outward, to the hose connecting to our oil catch can. Just like that. And finally, the fitting, the last one included in the kit, is gonna go right here. And this end is gonna attach to that. Well guys, that's gonna wrap up my review and install for the C&L Monster Oil Catch Can in black for all trucks, all 97 and newer F150s. Keep in mind guys, as you look at this install and where it's mounted, this is universal. Where you mount it is completely up to you. If you want it for your own truck, 97 and newer F150, get yours right here at AmericanTrucks.com.